Hi there everyone, meteorologist Spetta here with you on the 29th of September 2011, and out here in the Western Pacific today, a very diverse and active. Starting off here towards the left, we have still Typhoon Nesat moving onshore towards Hainan here today and into this evening. Also another typhoon, not Typhoon Nalgae here, moving off towards the west-northwest, very slowly, going to start up some speed before heading off towards Luzon, where we know they do not have rainfall across much of the Philippines there. Also up here towards the north, westerly low moving away from Japan, just bringing some high waves to the coast there. But behind that is another area of low pressure that's going to be bringing some rain showers to much of Japan here over the weekend. And the main situation with this is that behind that is going to be a strong cold surge setting in and bringing cooler temperatures here across much of China, Korea, and Honshu by early next week. But first, I would like to talk about our typhoon out here just east of Hainan, expecting to make a landfall this evening across that island, but also it is bringing tropical storm strength winds to the metro area of Hong Kong, which has been seeing those winds upwards of about 35 to 40 knots throughout the day today. Actually, they are under a gale force warning and storm warning number 8 in effect for Hong Kong currently. Also, the storm is tracking off towards the west-northwest. Current winds in the center of the system are 65, gusting up to 95 knots. So still fairly strong system, about the equivalent of a Category 1 typhoon out here. 970 HPA is the pressure at the center of circulation, but the center of circulation is fairly exposed right now. It did have some dry air run into the center of it yesterday, so as you can see here on the microwave imagery, overall a very wide eye wall here, but that does not take away the fact there's still an abundant amount of rain here on the southern periphery, which is going to cause problems here not only in Hainan but also towards Vietnam, where the southwest monsoon season has been very strong this season. So there's going to be a very high risk of flooding out there. And also up here in Hong Kong, you're actually seeing a lot of rain showers there as well, as shown on the radar imagery here. This is actually a radar out of Hainan, and if you run up here towards the coast and grab Hong Kong's radar, you can see the landing up there as well. So center of circulation right in here, still getting some outer rain bands across Hong Kong, and that is fairly evident on some video that was taken there by a good friend of mine, Mr. James Reynolds at typhoonferry.com, just showing the out across Victoria's Harbor here, a lot of high surf pounding up on here, very strong winds, and as you can kind of note here, those tropical storm strength winds that were pounding much of the Hong Kong metro area. So they did get a lot of high winds there, not to mention the fact of the heavy rainfall across the region. So still continuing to watch the effects of Typhoon Nesat as it continues to push off west here along the southern periphery of this ridge up here towards the north, located over China, which has been the main steering influence for the system all along. So it is still expected to continue to cross Hainan here on towards Vietnam, where it'll make a second and then third landfall by tomorrow evening. And as already noted earlier, the rainfall is going to be a major problem, as much of Indo China, not only in Vietnam here, but all the way down towards Thailand as well, has been seeing a very active southwest monsoon season, and the flooding out there is already occurring, and this is just going to compound that problem across much of the region. So we'll keep you updated here on WesternPacificWeather.com as that does develop, as Nesat continues to track off towards the west there. But we also have a second typhoon out here, Typhoon Nalgae here, moving off towards the west. It is currently packing winds of about 65, gusting up to 90 knots. That's per JTWC. They do have it as a typhoon right now, but also JMA a little bit weaker, about 55, gusting up to 80 knots. But given the overall improving circulation of this system, also good outflow aloft, and a lot of moisture getting pumped in from the south out of it, I would not be surprised if JMA upgrades it to a typhoon, as there has been an eye in and out on visible imagery and also on microwave imagery over the past 24 hours. So as that becomes more apparent, I would not be surprised if JMA also upgrades this storm, and also this will continue to intensify as it tracks off towards the west. It has been pummeled by some vertical wind shear here recently, but it looks like it's starting to shake that, and as you can see here on the shear chart, actually out ahead of it, and just seeing about 5 to 10 knots of shear, and out here farther towards the west, about 20 to 30 knots over the Philippines. And that's actually expected to clear out and kind of lift off towards the northwest as Nesat continues to track. But also sea surface temperatures across the region still remain very warm, upwards of about 31 degrees here towards the south, but also 30 degrees across much of the area where the storm is currently forming up, and that means there's a lot of heat and a lot of moisture to be fed in this system to allow it to intensify. And look, the surface analysis across the region here, you do see it tracking off towards the west, following Nesat here in this broad area and trough of low pressure. That is the monsoon season out here. But also, I do want to mention this little low moving off of Korea today and actually extending out here towards China. We mentioned that earlier. It is going to bring in some rain showers here across Japan over the weekend. But behind that, see this little pooling here and kind of spilling down here towards the south from the Asiatic high? Well, that is going to have a major effect on our Typhoon Nalgae here as that tracks off towards the west. That's going to ridge down in on it, and I do believe it is going to steer it a little bit farther towards the south over Luzon here, and that kind of matches up with the model guide that has been wavering back and forth from just off the coast to just over the coast. But over here in the last several model runs, a lot of them are coming a little bit farther towards the south. You do have a little few outliers here that kind of jump up here towards north and pull back south, likely due to that ridging. But overall, though, I do expect this to kind of move a little bit farther towards the south overall in the track and make landfall here south of Apari over Luzon, which would spell very bad news as far as the precipitation, as much of that area is already saturated. And any rainfall that would fall down would all run off right into the rivers directly, and none of it would soak up into the ground, thus causing that high potential of flooding, not to mention the risk of mudslides across Luzon here. So this is actually looking at JMA's outlook on this system. They're also expecting this to make a landfall south of Apari, so gradually working south on the overall track here. You still do have the cone of air actually extending all the way from Manila and now all the way up here towards southern Taiwan. Yeah, I do think there's a pretty good fair agreement that landfall likely here just east of the Sierra Madre region, north of where Nesat made landfall, though around here in Aurora, Isabella, yet it still will bring a lot of precipitation across that entire region. But that is all for right now, everyone. As always, please leave your comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment box below. Also, if you are getting any reports of the weather occurring out here, specifically right now in Hong Kong and southeastern China, as Nesat continues to move onshore there, if you have any videos or pictures, please share them with us here at westernpacificweather.com. I'll make sure to get them into the updates here as well. Always good to have that on the ground visual. But that is all for right now, though. Stay safe out there, everybody, and have a great day.